Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning. You're watching World This Morning with only Shazad Hashmi today. Unfortunately, Shazad Khan is not here, but we do definitely miss him. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a clear morning outside, a beautiful day. In fact, it's Monday, but as beautiful as it is, it's chilly as well. And for a person like me who waits for winter all of the year, and then when finally it's winter, half of the season I spend sick, and the other half I spend figuring out what I should do with winter. But it's all fine, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure all of you out there as well are loving the season. Of course, I am as well. We're thankful that Pakistan actually enjoys all these seasons. What have you picked on today to talk about? Oh, before that, this one thing that I actually thought of sharing with you guys in the morning. When you go out to work in the morning, or you go to school or colleges or universities, or for everyone who wakes up in the morning, you're my hero because I know how hard it is. Other than that, when you go out on roads, there are people who are selling newspapers or pens or probably flowers early in the morning. Buy it from them because they're not beggars, at least they're working. That is their job, like yours is to probably go to school or go to offices. That is their job. So help them out, and maybe you can, help them in making a good day for them. So moving on to what we're talking about today. It's very unusual, and I will be very honest, I did not know that this day even existed. Today is the 19th of November, and this day is actually in more than 70 countries celebrated as World's Men's Day. Did we know that? Of course, I did not know that. We know Mother's Day, we know Father's Day, we know Women's Day, I even know Girl Child's Day. But did we know about Men's Day? We did not. And for that very specific reason, we have some very apt guests in our studio who are going to talk about of their roles as men in the society and in general as well. They belong to different capacities of life. One of them happens to be a neurosurgeon, wow. One of them is a traveler. One of them is a diplomatic coordinator. And all of them also happen to be, family guys. So, of course, there's different roles that we're going to discuss. But before that, let's take a look at a very brief history of World's Men Day. So the motion was, has been led in the 60s when a lot of people were gathering in the Soviet Union especially. They wanted to counter the World's Women Day, of course, to, highlight the importance of men in societies in the world and highlight the health issues of men and also pay tribute to the legendary men that have lived on the planet. But it wasn't until 1992 that this day was officially recognized, and this is now being, as I mentioned, celebrated in more than 70 countries, yes, like Russia, Ukraine, and so many of them that I cannot even name, to be honest. My researcher did the research, but I've forgotten the names. So I think it's the right time to move on to our guests over here. And by the way, it was only in 2010 that it was officially recognized in Pakistan as well. When there's this human rights group called Rights and Rights, and this was the first time when they held a group meeting or a seminar sort of in Muzaffargarh. It was in 2010 when around 100 or a little more people joined together. They were women, they were kids as well, they were men, young boys and everyone who sort of came together under one roof and discussed the importance of men in society and the importance of highlighting the efforts that men put into binding a society. So ladies and gentlemen, to talk about this, on my right-hand side, we have been joined by none other than Professor Dr. Khaliquzzaman, who happened to be the former head of neurosurgery at PIMS, and now he has not retired. It's something very great he just said. He said, I haven't retired. I have probably officially retired, but not tired. So this is Dr. Khaliquzzaman for us. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you? Thank you so much for being here, especially on this day. Did you even know that a Men Day existed?
No, I had a call yesterday from your
And you
office.
found out yesterday?
Yeah, that's right.
Same happened to me as well. So we're going to discuss that. But next to Dr. Khaliq over here, we've been joined by someone from the US. Okay, this is interesting, but I'll let him do the introduction for himself. He happens to be a vlogger, a photographer, a videographer, and his name is Alexander Daniel. He is from the US. Assalamu alaikum. Hello.
How are you?
Do you know Assalamu alaikum? Do you know?
I do. I know a little bit about it. Walaikum assalam.
Oh, great, great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Really excited to be here. It's going to be awesome. I had no idea that this was World's Men's Day, but
you didn't know as well?
No idea.
So it's not only in Pakistan, like a lot of people around the world don't know it's World's Men's Day. And next to him is someone who actually is very close to us, works with us on a daily basis, and his name is Mr. Sayyid Faisal Kazmi, and he happens to be a diplomatic coordinator. Assalamu alaikum, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
So I have sort of mentioned the roles that you guys told me to. Now you happen to be a neurosurgeon, you are a traveler, you are a diplomatic coordinator. But as a man in a family and in a society, where do you guys see yourself? Starting with you, Dr. Khaliq. Of course, you're a father, you're a brother, and then you're a doctor. You know, as important as you are to your family, you're also very important to the society.
Yeah, actually, when you asked me this, I feel my roles change.
Okay.
Right from the beginning, when I was born, for example, and I went through my history, I thought that one thing in common in all the roles
Yeah.
is that I want to be, for example, a role model
Right.
for the rest of the people. And what I would like to do is have a little bit of comfort,
Yeah.
create a little comfort for whoever actually is around me. And also, I have something to give rather than just take.
Yeah.
So therefore, that was whether I was a student, whether I was a son, whether I was a brother, and when I became a teacher or a doctor,
Right.
and now I'm a grandfather.
Wow,
So you see,
Are you
my roles
enjoying
are
that
changing,
role?
and I have to really play my role accordingly. And I think it is something that when you actually try to create what we call asania in Urdu, so that there are comforts for people,
yeah.
I think your role changes even when you are in the house
Right.
and when you get out of the house. For example, when you're in the house, you try to support and you try to help the family, and you try to guide your children, and also have a listening ear.
Yeah.
And at the same time, as we say, you should give them the gold,
Yeah.
but at the same time have the eyes of a tiger.
Oh, it's
So
very
therefore,
beautifully said.
you have roles, you have friends, you have family, and you have relatives. Now, at this very moment, I'm on television, and I have a nation that is probably, and even our world, you have
More
to,
than
so
60
therefore, there's so
countries.
many humanity is
Yes.
listening to me, so I have to be careful.
Of course.
So therefore, roles change is the stage change.
Right.
And these are, as Shakespeare said, there are stages of life in which your roles change.
Yeah.
And I feel no matter what role you are, if one does it at the best of their ability, whatever time you get, you put it in the right place. For example, time is, whatever time and role is, I feel like it is a utensil.
Yeah.
If you put water in it,
Make the right use of it.
if it is milk, it becomes more. If there is honey in it, then the whole thing's change.
Right,
And if you get gold coins in it, it becomes even more. So
Absolutely.
therefore, life for a man, I think one should not really be, I feel that one should not be really talking about men as a manhood.
Okay.
Men is a character.
Okay.
And even a lady can be a man, and in
Right.
our societies, so
There
many
are
men
some-
has proved
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
they are better than men. So therefore, when you introduced the topic initially, when you said it in Russia, just because there was a Women's Day, therefore that becomes a Men's Day.
They wanted
I
to
don't
have
think
one.
that should be. Well,
Okay.
I don't personally. I don't agree.
Okay,
with
but that's how the history goes back. Then.
That's
They were-
right.
The meeting, the sort of
That's
meeting
right.
that actually held, they wanted to counter the Women's Day that was going on.
That's right.
But thank you for the wisdomous words you just said. You sound so experienced, mashallah. Of course you are. And wisdom actually shows in your words. Now moving on to you, Alex. You happen to be a millennial, I must say. And for a person who lives in a digital era, who's a vlogger, who's a videographer, a photographer, loves to travel the world, what sort of a role are you playing in the society?
Well, I think it's important to just know that, like you were saying, that a lot of people are looking at you, right? And the image that you portray is not necessarily one of a man, but one of a person of humanity. Just somebody who wants to promote a better image of the world. And I think that's one of the things is like, just make sure that, how would you say?
At least you leave a mark on the world. That
You
you
know,
contribute enough.
yeah, definitely that. That's definitely a huge thing. So making sure that you have the right, you take responsibility and.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Okay, brief. Very, very nice though. Mr. Kasmi, coming to you, how do you see yourself as playing a role in a society in any capacity that you might think?
Well, as Dr. Saab very well said, that being a human, it's very important for us, in any part of, of the society, we have to be, there, and we have to throw the as maximum as we can deliver.
Right.
Like I have been watching in different ways that there are like men, women, transgenders, or
Yeah.
the different areas
Yeah.
we're just talking about. But the thing is that you have to deliver wherever you are. You have to deliver at your maximum level.
Absolutely.
And being a father, being a brother, being a son, and being anywhere you're just having job or you're doing the business, you have to, be very, you have to be justice, I mean, to your work. And once you do this, then, you don't need to, sometimes I just feel that there are different kind of societies in our, country or around the globe. In any single matter, you'll just see one society. They'll just raise the voices from those small groups.
Right.
The thing is that in any way, being a human, if I'm delivering on my part, everybody has his domain, a certain domain. So we have to be very honest within our domain.
Right.
I just see that people just wasting the time just to talk about the things that roaming
That
around.
don't even matter.
It's this is going around. Somebody is doing this, and we are just wasting our energies. Actually, we have to be. Those energies should be. Be in
Invested in
streamline.
something, yeah.
To add in this society.
Right, right.
So this is very much important.
But Mr. Kazmi, I'm sorry I have to cut you off over here, but since we live in a Pakistani society, this is a collectivistic culture. And I love it. I mean, there's always a family member out there who's there to help you out. Even if you go abroad, even if you go to a city that you've never been to, there's always someone you know. And I love the fact, this particular fact about Pakistani society. So since we're talking about this particular culture, your role as a brother or as a son did not end even if you were married, So how's that going for you? Are you still, managing with those roles?
Yes. First of all, as you just talk about our this cultural thing that exists in our society, I'm a traveler as well.
Okay.
So I have been interacting to the different travelers around the globe, so as Alex, and engaging them. And everybody just, who just come over here and when they just see these things happening, how we just go ahead with our families and how, we have strong bond system. And they just, it just amazes them.
Of course.
And it really means them a lot. So now coming to your question, role as a brother, as a son, as a husband. I think that in our society, this is the thing that this role, it's very important, and we just take it in the different ways. Like as a brother, like I remember in 1903, my father died, and I was the eldest one in my family, and then.
And the roles might have shifted, right?
Yeah.
Then you were the leader.
Yeah.
And the provider.
And provider. But I would just love to talk about my mother.
Yeah.
So she was the one who really came with after the demise of my father.
Yeah.
So she really, made a very strong woman, and she gave us the courage actually.
Wow.
To go ahead. And
she lifted you all out of that misery,
out of that,
right?
even
she
then,
the man.
nothing was there. So she was the one who
As
just
Dr. Saab is saying, she became the man then. Yeah.
She was. She was. And then after some years, she got breast cancer.
Okay.
In which she just struggled 3 years.
Okay.
But even that time, she was the one. Everybody coming to see her. She never lying on the bed whenever somebody says that somebody is coming to see you. She just kept saying, okay, I'm fine.
She didn't want to show her pain to anyone.
No, not at all. She never even claimed that I'm having a pain. Never. And if somebody is just start to ask that how are you feeling, before he just asks, she's the one who is always starting. How are you?
Okay.
How are your mother? How is your
Wow.
father? Yeah. So she was the one. So she just gave us.
So she's been a role model for you
Role
throughout
model.
your life.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well,
Absolutely.
very brilliantly said. And since we are talking about role models and keeping in line with the World's Men Day, I have to say that of course, my mother is my role model, but when we're talking about men, being a Muslim, I think it has to be, first of all, the Prophet, peace be upon him, the last Prophet, is my role model in everything, when I think about how to lead my life. But other than that, my dad, of course, because ever since I'm born, he's the first man I saw, and he's the first man I saw providing stuff to us, being the teacher, being the leader, and like he's the one person we go to for anything or for everything. Is it an advice? It is a suggestion? Do I need to buy a dress? Do I need to, give something to someone? If anything, that is my father. And I think I'm sure this is similar in all societies all around the globe, right? So who has been your legendary role model throughout your life?
Well,
I'm sure right now you are to your grandkids, since you've just mentioned
the
your
thing is,
grandfather as well.
the way you suggested, I feel when all people who were good people around the world in the history, the way I actually looked at it, obviously when you open your eyes, your father and your family members, they're all around you and they're your world.
Right.
But as you grow and you actually see things with your own eyes and analyze, you see, the first one in my village, I was in a village far away where the road ends. Now the road is going right up to China.
Okay.
But I was there in a place called Buttle and Buffa. Buffa is my hometown in Mansehra. And I used to see this gentleman who used to teach us Quran in madrasa or in the mosque, and he used to always wear nice clothes, clear clothes. Obviously, in the village, most of the people are farmers, so they have no way of styling, and also today's the different model. What are they called? Designers clothes. And I used to think that he is the one that I want to be, because he was always respected in the society, and he was given due respect. Also, he used to look after, and if there was any problem, they would call him for advice and things like that. But when you went to school, when I went to school, in the school, it was a teacher. For example, in the medical college, I had new role models. But throughout, one character remained with me all the time, and that was the father, obviously. My father also died in an accident when I just became a doctor. So therefore, the whole family was actually, I had to actually chip in. And then obviously he changed. But the most important thing in our society is that there is a teamwork.
Absolutely.
You see, and the teamwork, the leadership depends on your integrity as well as an age. You must have noticed that if they say that you should never be the youngest, because they always take it out on you for. And this is
taken for granted.
There is a hierarchy. There is a hierarchy.
Right.
So therefore, you get an undue respect when you are maybe you're not as good as others, but because you're older, so there is a tradition in the society in which there is mutual respect, not for what you do, but what you are in that setup. So therefore, this thing, just like mother and the father, for example, they have roles. But when they are not providing you at a stage when they are older, you look after them. And then, in spite of the fact that you are the provider, so it's not the materialistic provision that actually determines the leadership or the role modeling. It is something else in our society, that is whoever is honest, whoever is actually providing and also creating easiness for everybody, जिस तरह हम कहते हैं आसानियां पैदा करते हैं लोगों के लिए. So therefore, what happens is he is not actually the leader at that time. Grandfather who would not be able to even walk, but he is the man who is the final decision maker in say who is going to get married to who.
The last word lies with him, of course.
That's right. So therefore, in our society, now this is changing. What I was trying to say was the whole thing is changing from village to the city and from the city to the international country. For example, people are traveling and everything else. So therefore, we are going through a phase where we have to be extremely careful that our basic structure do not change. Because when there are people who are left behind in a society, from that point of view, social development and also the thinking, and there are other people who are actually far behind from this kind of culture, what happens? There is a dichotomy in the society and there are conflicts. And there are not only conflicts in the society, but also there are conflicts in the house. For example, if one brother has gone abroad and he has seen the world, the other brother has remained behind and he had been looking after the land and the property and all the village, then the two minds and their thinking might clash. Absolutely. Here, we need a common ground. I give you the example of, say, all those students who have gone to madrasas, and all those students who have gone to, say, A level and O level. And there is a third category who have gone to our government schools. There are three different societies now.
Absolutely.
And we need to actually think about this social destruction that is going on, in my opinion, that one of them is an aristocrat. The other one is the main person who is looking after everyone, but he is a villager. And the third one is in between. So therefore, what is happening is we have this conflict in this region because of this different backgrounds and different atmosphere that they are provided.
And also different interpretation of roles, I must
Exactly.
say. Yeah, but thank you for putting it out like, like that. But Alex, coming back to you, on a lighter note, you've been here only for 2 weeks, but have you learned a little bit of Urdu probably?
मैं उर्दू बोल सकता हूँ।
Oh, wow,
इससे
no
पहले मैंने
way.
उर्दू हिंदी सीखा स्कूल में।
No
और
way.
जी, और अभी मैं पाकिस्तान में रहता हूँ और
I am shocked.
1 साल के लिए। Yep.
So you took proper Urdu Hindi classes?
और अस्सलाम वालेकुम और वालेकुम अस्सलाम मैं बिल्कुल समझ आता हूँ।
Oh my God! Wow, this is shocking, man. Okay, so what Urdu, like Pakistani food do you like?
Oh man, सज्जी ये मेरा सबसे पसंदीदा खाना है अभी। Yeah.
Okay. Saji, and have you tried biryani? This is a question we always ask our foreign
मैंने
guests.
बिरयानी पकाया और ब्लॉग बनाया बिरयानी बनाने के बारे में। और
So how did you follow the instructions? Like, what did you Google?
No, मेरे दोस्तों के साथ उन्होंने मैंने कैसे कहते हैं teach किया।
Oh wow, brilliant! Oh my God, Alex, I'm in awe. Like, oh my God, perfect.
Heran ho gayi.
Urdu. Okay, so my producers want you to tell us in Urdu, of course, how your experience of PTV World is. And do you is Pakistan television actually recognized across the world as well?
PTV, या बिल्कुल, या ज़रूर।
Okay.
या बहुत से लोग इसके बाद मैं सारे दोस्तों को बताऊंगा कि मैंने PTV में था और एक इंटरव्यू किया और yeah.
Okay, wow. That's brilliant. We should always talk about in Urdu, but unfortunately, this particular channel is officially in English. No, that's okay. That's okay. But I actually enjoyed, learning so much Urdu from you. But Alex, since you are from the, that part of the world, I want you to sort of compare what you've seen in both the parts of the world in terms of roles in society. So, okay, this is a funny thing I think we were discussing before the show as well. There's this new concept. It's okay for you and me. I know it's totally normal. There's this new concept of work-at-home dads. And men are actually enjoying and indulging in staying at home and probably working and probably taking after the home and looking after the kids, Is that very well accepted in the US as well as in Pakistan? How do you see that?
So I don't think it would be as accepted in Pakistan as it will be in the US, if we're going to be really honest about it.
Okay.
In the US, definitely. I mean, if a guy wants to stay at home and a wife wants to work, yeah, definitely. There's no qualms with that, or there's no issues for sure. In Pakistan, because the traditionally speaking, it's like you have the role of the man is the one to work and outside of the house, and the role of the woman is to work inside of the house. Now, I think that will change, and I think that will change in the larger cities like Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi. I don't think it will change in smaller cities. I mean, outside of those. And the reason is because you see the bigger cities that have influences of Western culture. I mean, you see Islamabad, which is it's closer to a European city or Western city than almost any of the other ones. And you see that where, and so consequently, I could see that a stay-at-home dad would probably be more of a likelihood in Islamabad as opposed to city of Karachi. Now, I think that will change, and I think eventually there will be more of that. But I mean, it's at least right now in Pakistan, it'd be probably pretty pretty different, pretty new concept. So.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, Mr. Kazmi and Dr. Saab over here, especially with you guys, I need to discuss that. Alex just mentioned that it is very typical of Pakistani man to go out and work and the women to stay in Pakistan. It's not by, you know, it's not defined by role. It is the respect that we give to the man, and I think the power that we actually do give to the man. But I think we do need to talk about this point a little, elaboratively. But on this note, we're taking a short break. We will be back. Stay tuned to BTV World. Good morning. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching World This Morning with Shiza Hashmi. And for all those who just got tuned in, today we have picked on a very unusual topic, that is the 19th of November is being celebrated as the World's Men Day all across the globe in more than 70 countries, and on our show as well. So in that context, we're talking to men from different capacities and from different areas of life, from different areas of the world as well. And just before we went on to a short break, we were talking about how, in specifically us, the Pakistani culture, we have given specific values to the presence of man or the presence of a leadership in our society. It's not that we're bound to. It's not that someone, specifically tells us that a man is your leader, a man is going to go out and earn. It's just not that. It's just that we have given that certain respect or a certain level to that person in our family. And I think all of us are going to agree with that, right? So Dr. Saab, coming with you, let's start with how the values, I know we've been talking about how the values of, keep shifting from over time and whatnot, but I just want to sort of break the myth over here, the stereotype that Pakistanis are sort of forced to, stay at home and men do the work. It's just that it's very widely accepted and we're okay with that. I want you to address that.
Well, I've been abroad. I've been around the world, and I have stayed for 7 years in Britain while my training and everything else. I think values are the same all over the world. Yeah. No matter what. Although in the West, the women are working not because of luxury or because of, if they could stay at home
They would.
and could run the house, well, a single person could actually earn enough, they won't work. They would work for pleasure,
Right.
but they won't work for the way we work.
Right.
And to be honest, coming to Pakistan, if you go to even Gilgit-Baltistan,
Yeah.
if you go to Punjab, if you go to some areas of KPK, and if you go to Sindh, and very few places in Balochistan, the women are also working.
Right.
You see, they're working in the fields, and in Gojranwala, you would see them working in the industry.
The cottage industries, they're
Cottage
making
industries,
carpets,
yeah.
they're making
And
clothes
they
and
are
everything.
actually
Yeah.
working in the house.
Absolutely.
You know, they make, even if they are not working for, say, going to the market, their products going to the market, you would be surprised. When I was young, my clothes used to be made inside the house.
Wow.
You see, there used to be, the mother used to be tailor, the mother used to be cook, the mother used to be the cleaner, for
Right.
example, or the sister or whatever, and we used to chip in. You see, we used to really help her out. So the whole teamwork was there on. So the teamwork development was there. Now people give, you see, have workshops for team development and what does team means and this, that, and the other.
Exactly.
It was a team all the way, right from when you were born, for example. Even before you were born, they used to knit things for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, the
Still
grandmother,
happens.
the
Actually,
mother-
still happens, right?
That's right, it still happens. So this myth of our men going out and women staying in is really...
It's not a myth, but we sort of enjoy sticking to these
That's
rules,
right.
right?
We try. And what has happened is, in a larger context, what happens is, especially in young men, it's not in, for example, in a man of my age or whatever, but for example, when you're in 20s and 30s, what happens is that this ego comes in, which they call as...
They
what
become
they call-
rebellious, especially.
That's right. Especially with respect to women, they want to protect them. Nobody wants to have a
Put
dirty
an
eye
eye on
towards
it,
her. Yeah,
right.
my sister. Oh, why did you look at her like this? Or why did you speak to her? Why my sister actually? So the thing is, these are actually the values of. Somebody asked a scholar,
Yeah.
said that why do we keep our women covered, for example, and why the men are not covered?
Okay.
I said, have you gone to a shop, a jeweler shop? I say, yes. A diamond shop? I say, yes. What do they do with the jewelry? That's the most precious stone, and the most precious would be in the multiple layers and
Right.
under multiple locks.
Right.
So they keep the most precious thing most protected. But if you go to the blacksmith's shop or an iron or steel shop, the things are lying on the road. So therefore, you don't have to protect them because they are not that actually precious.
Right, I
So-
get that. So we sort of, when we're talking about the roles over here, the amount of respect and the amount of love and protection that we have gained from our men is actually immense, and probably that is why we're still enjoying the roles, you know.
I'll give you my
staying-
personal right now.
Yeah,
I'm
please.
going to give you my personal. I had 2 boys. We didn't have a girl.
Okay.
I wanted a girl.
Okay.
My wife didn't want a girl.
Okay.
But now I have a grandson,
Okay.
and I have a girl child coming soon.
Oh, mashallah,
And
mashallah.
we are all on the top of the, even my boy.
You must be so excited.
That's right.
Wow.
He told me that, look, it's a girl on the ultrasound. And he said, I am the one who is giving the first lady to the house.
Actually, technically,
So-
he is right.
We all feel proud.
Wow.
So
wow.
men is a superior animal is not actually the real thing. To be
Right.
honest, for me, our ladies are, we know that my boy can look after himself. But we know that we have to look after, in addition to what she could do, we have to really be there if
In
our
case she
girls,
doesn't manage,
if
right.
she needs me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, in our house, for example, there was a liberty. My all sisters have qualified, they are educated, they've gone
Wow.
to schools, they've gone to colleges,
Wow.
some of them are working. And the thing is that similarly, it's the thing is, the culture is there in my village now. So they are actually go out shopping and et cetera, et cetera. So this myth of keeping the woman inside the house is perhaps not right. And in the West, I have seen that they also do the same. They
Right.
wouldn't let their young girl go out in the dark or in a dangerous
Of course,
place
yeah.
without some kind of protection.
Protect, of course, yeah.
So I think it's just normal human, so it's more
Nature,
of a
yeah.
propaganda rather than anything else. Your media is playing a great role in
Well,
it.
that's true, but that's why you're here, sir. We have given you a platform to talk about it. But
Thank you.
Alex, coming to you, when I was reading about you yesterday, you mentioned that you want to travel the globe to break some certain stereotypes and whatnot. So I'm going to throw two myths / stereotypes at you, and I want you to address them. The first being chivalry is dead.
Is it dead? No, I don't
No?
think so.
Okay, but how so?
Yeah, so I think the idea of chivalry is changing, and I think chivalry doesn't just apply to men.
Yeah, of
I
course.
think that's one of the things that when you first think, or at least when I first think of chivalry, it's like, does that apply just to guys? No, it's to everybody, right? And I mean, think of the concept of opening a door for a lady, right?
I would do that for a kid,
Right.
probably, for an elder person. Like, I would happily do that.
Right, and I would define that as chivalry. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's like just being genuine and honest and good to people, and I think that should apply to all genders, regardless of the case. So I don't think it's dead at all. I think it's just not necessarily talked about because it's more of a relabel.
Okay, great. And now, I'm sorry, very quickly, men don't cry.
That's not true. Man, have you cut an onion? Everybody's gonna cry.
True. So before we actually move on to Mr. Kazmi over here to discuss this one very important thing that I want to, is there a message for all the tourists around the world, or every aspiring tourist, especially aspiring vlogger, to travel? Here's your time, here's your camera, just go on and tell them what to do.
So you should know that Pakistan is not what traditional media tells you it is, right? Especially Western media. If you want to know more, you can check out my vlog. It's college free. I'm here in Pakistan for the next year, and the goal is to dispel stereotypes about Pakistan and show what the country is actually all about. So food, culture, religion, lifestyles. Because the Westerners don't know what Pakistan is actually about. And that's a huge problem. The reason is because Pakistan is such an incredible country. There's so much to do and so much to see. I mean, you have some of the most beautiful areas in the world, but nobody knows about them, you know? And so as far as tourism is concerned, like, if you're somebody who you've traveled a lot and you want to go to a place that is relatively undisturbed by tourists, if you want to be one of the first people to enter Pakistan and do some of the most incredible things, I would suggest take a look at Pakistan. Because it doesn't have that touristy vibe at all. I walk into cities all the time, and people just stop and stare. People will wave at you and like shout and like be all excited because there's a foreigner in their city. I mean, like, you walk down streets where probably there's been no other foreigner who's walked down that street, you know. And so, as far as a tourist destination goes, I think Pakistan in the next couple of years will be one of the biggest tourism destinations, uncharted tourist destinations, and I think that's one of the reasons. Yeah, I think you should definitely visit Pakistan.
Well, thank
it's
you for
not
saying
what you
that.
think about that.
It's our pleasure to have you, and we really hope that you do have a good trip over here. Now, very quickly, Mr. Kazmi, I want you to wrap it up on the note, how important is it since it's Men Day, let's talk about men specifically. How important is it for men or boys to be independent, or, you know, learn to be independent by living alone or in any way?
Yes, it's quite important. I just give you example of my younger brother.
Yeah, sure.
I come from a very small town, and after death of my father, we tried. Actually, our mother was there, and she said that you have to, go for the studies. Right. To even Lahore or Islamabad, whatever. So I just support you. So my younger brother, so he went to Lahore. He studied in FC College for 4 years. Then he been to Punjab University for his law.
Okay.
And for that thing, and basically he was very shy guy before going to Lahore. But once he was there, he done his studies over there. It really make him very strong. And the second thing is that he really contributed to us in a way that after graduation, he didn't claim any money from us.
Okay.
And he right away start part-time job.
Okay.
he was just teaching to some kids over there.
Wow.
part
So
time,
he was
and
managing his own life.
Yes.
Wow.
So the entire 3 years of study of law, so he did all, the money, he just managed all the things.
Right, right.
So it, it was just because we just, give him the space that he was there out of the city.
And also you gave him the trust and confidence,
Trust,
right?
yes, yes. And he really did marvelous job over there.
Wow.
And then he managed, to go to UK. He just did LLM over there.
Wow.
And yes.
Oh, that's
So-
brilliant. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for each and every single one of you for being here, you gentlemen. Dr. Khalik over here, Mr. Alex, Mr. Kazmi. Thank you so much for being here, especially on this special day that all of us, most of us didn't even know existed. So ladies and gentlemen, today, again, we are celebrating World Men Day for the most important reason, because we can. I mean, why not? Of course, when we're talking about Men Day, a lot of the sentiment rises that men are as human as women are. Of course they are. But if there's this one specific day when we're talking about men and when we're giving them the importance, we're talking about their issues, their health issues, and how legendary their roles are, then we should. And I think all of you should participate in this as well. So write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter, it is World This Morning without a G. On Dailymotion and YouTube, World This Morning, World This Morning. And the fabulous repeat is going to be at 11:05 in the night. So till the next time, take care. Good morning.